This is Jenna speaking with Dr. Aaron Imhoff from the infirmary on Colony 1. Dr. Imhoff is the director of the medical staff here. He talks about what it was like spending the majority of his time in the infirmary once people started falling ill and the backlash he got from orders he gave to close the dig site. At what point did you start quarantining patients?
It was about 2 weeks before solar conjunction when the first group symptoms escalated and the blood cultures came back positive for bacteria, not a virus. The strand of bacteria we found wasn't supposed to be there.
Not meant to be in the human body, you mean?
Yes. You see, our skin is crawling with bacteria, and our bodies are home to billions of bacterial cells. When we discovered these bacteria, we weren't sure that they were causing the symptoms our crew was experiencing, but it certainly seemed likely. Bacterial infections can be very serious. We'd never seen this kind before, so we started running a lot of tests.
Like what?
Well, we needed to find out where it was coming from. Of course, we assumed it was Martian. First, we tested samples from the dig site. Many of the crew members who were sick had been involved with the archaeological work. And that seemed like the most logical place to look.
Mm-hmm. So were you the one who closed the dig site?
Yes. That's where I got the most backlash. They were on a roll with discovering the river rock markings. But the first two groups of sick patients were mainly working on the dig. If it was coming from there, I wanted to try to stop it. It's okay. 15 years in the German army, I'm used to having to make the unpopular decision for the safety of the crew.
Did your experience in the army help prepare you?
Of course. When all this first kicked off, I was only concerned about trying to keep the rest of the team healthy. Then the symptoms morphed, and the patients were losing feelings in their limbs. The paralysis set in and followed the way of the numbness. Legs, arms, head. Their breathing was affected. They all needed to be on respirators. 31 people at different stages of sickness. We had no idea if it was permanent. Actually, we had no idea about anything. Ground control wanted hourly check-ins, but there was no time.
Do you think that if you could have communicated with them more, they would have figured out the diagnosis sooner?
Maybe. Or maybe we wouldn't have been there to fix a respirator when it went on the fritz. Or been there to change the IV. Because we're spending our time telling ground control the same news every hour. Patient 10 getting worse, showing the same signs as patients 1 through 9. We were trying to save lives.
But they were too.
Yes. I know. It was their job to look at the big picture and help us solve the problem. Think of it this way. I was trying to put out the fire while they were supposed to figure out how to stop it from spreading to the rest of the forest. The information we had and gave them was all we knew at the time. Reporting every hour would have yielded the same information.
Were you nervous about the solar conjunction?
Of course, the timing couldn't have been worse. We were too busy taking care of the patients. There wasn't enough time or staff for us to be fully investigating what was causing all this. The rest of the crew did what they could, but it's not their specialty. We desperately needed communication with Earth.
Did you have enough space to quarantine people effectively?
No. We had to put them all in one room.
It must have been really tight quarters.
It only got worse. As more people got sick, we had to move out the single beds and put in bunk beds.
It must have been much harder to administer care, especially to the people on the top bunks.
Do you know about triage?
Yeah. It's used with a mass casualty event, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, we had our groups. If we had more space, we would have put the patients like patients 1 through 3 and others in a separate room to keep them comfortable. We didn't want them near the others. We needed to keep everyone calm. Unfortunately, that wasn't an option for us. The sickest patients we put...
Do you mean the patients who weren't going to make it?
Yes. We put them on the top bunks and did our best to keep them comfortable and minimize their pain as much as possible. The others were in the lower bunks.
Did they know they were going to die?
The people who were in the top bunks, they were in comas when we moved them up there. It's hard to know what people experience during a coma. Those that recover have different stories. Some remember nothing, while others have very vivid memories. If the patients on the top bunks knew anything that was going on, I just hope it's that they knew they were loved and that the world thanked them for their service.